Okay. Hello, everyone. Today we're gonna talk about how to cure any disease. Well, technically. So it's one idea I have. So let's see. I just wanna hear what you guys say about it. Okay. Okay. So for example, you see that in cells, right? We can create our own mRNA, right? So mRNA to get them to produce any kind of protein, right? So, as you may know, probably proteins are formed out of peptides, right? So many peptides are then fold into a three-dimensional structure, and this structure then performs some kind of function, right? Like an enzyme or something like that. So it can be like a catalyst to a kind of reaction or anything. Okay. However, this protein is created by something else called ribosomes, right? We have multiple parts, but let's say this simplified ribosome, right? It takes in the mRNA and it produces a protein for you, right? A polypeptide, right? Okay, okay. Well, yes. So how do we get this to work in a way that you don't have to create the mRNA every time? Let's say, like, go to a synthesizer, some kind of company or something to make you the mRNA, even given with all of their uh, limitations, right, on what kind of sequences they can create. Let's say that we could have a high bandwidth communication to a cell, right, and just be able to send the commands to it. Like, let's say, for example, there's a cell, right, and here's a nucleus, so eukaryotic cell, right? Okay, so this cell, we usually what we do is that we just send some mRNA via some transmission vector, right? And that way we can generate whatever proteins we're looking for. Okay. However, let's say that we have a modified cell, right? And this other cell uh, was designed in a way that its ribosomes in here, right? They take some kind of EM wave, right? So electromagnetic wave in this case. It could be light, for example, visible light, right? And so they take visible light and then they transform it into the proteins that we're looking for. So what I'm thinking of is what if we could design our own ribosome? So it's a new ribosome. I know how crazy that sounds. I know how difficult it can be. Well, it is, right? So, because we have to design all these proteins, we have to do all this. Well, like, I mean, we do have some background on how this works, on like other instances of something similar to this working, right? Because we have fluorescent proteins, we have photosynthesis, so we have a lot of other proteins that interface with light, right? So what if we could create our own ribosome, one that would take commands based on some kind of electromagnetic waves? Like, so let's say, for example, a fiber optic cable, right? So you have this cell, and you plug in a fiber optic cable right here, and then you send it a signal, right? You send a signal to it based on patterns of light, and then based on this signal it could be encoded in like into the frequency or into the frequency domain or any other domain, the intensity domain, or it could be colored itself. I don't know, that's just a theoretical basis, right? But let's say we can send the signal to it, and this cell, then this ribosome inside that cell then takes in that information, and based on that it decides which one out of the 20 or whatever uh, um, bases is going to use to create the protein for us. So it will be able to synthesize any arbitrary set of peptides. You get what I mean? So you end up creating whatever kind of protein you want without having to go through the whole process of creating a mRNA, putting it into a vector to then transport it into a cell, so it can accept that it can and then it can synthesize it and everything. So this is a really like interesting way of how we could do it in the future, right? But obviously, it's like super hard to make, right? To make this work. But it's something really interesting. What if we could design our own ribosome, right? And again, it's just an interesting idea that we can start from, right? But yeah, so imagine that in that way. For example, let's say you go to the doctor, right? And you need to get a new kind of medicine, a kind of something, right? In this case, we could literally just you just go to the doctor, and ask, and you tell them your symptoms. You tell them whatever it is. And the doctor just goes ahead and connects a fiber optic cable to some part on your body or something, and and then he sends a command to your cells to create the medicine for you, by using proteins and a specific sequence and a specific kind of therapy, right? So, like creating the enzymes to make some kind of a compound that then adds on your body or something else. But what's interesting about this is that this creates a high bandwidth communication, right, between our computers and the body. So you're able to send commands to it without without having to go through all of this. And this actually will give us a lot of really interesting, like it will make us more powerful in the fact that we will be able to test many different protein structures and candidates for research, because you can just send this to the cells and make ask them to make it, and then you can do like genetic pressure over it, like have an environment that just only those cells that are producing the kind of protein that you're looking for, or the kind of properties that you're looking for, right, are the ones who are going to survive. And it's really interesting evidence. But yeah, it's just a start. But here is that's the idea. That's good for today. Bye bye.